everyone. Welcome to the Restaurant Technology Network's official launch of a labor and technology management strategies working group and the output of that working group that's been going on for some time now in the industry. We all know that we are experiencing labor shortages and issues throughout the industry, so this couldn't have come at a better time. I'm Angela Diffley. I'm the co-founder of the Restaurant Technology Network, and we're thrilled to have you all join us today for what's sure to be a compelling discussion. So with that, we will jump right in. This is the agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about why we're here, which is what I just did. We all know why we're here, right? We are all struggling with labor in this industry. And there are some key contributors that are joining me that have done a lot to contribute to the work that we'll be sharing with you today, and give you a little bit of preview into what this framework looks like that the team developed. We'll be able to answer any questions that you have. Hopefully you can just throw them in the chat. And as we go along, we will try to address your questions. And we will jump right in here. I just want to thank, on the behalf of the RTN, all of the platinum members of the Restaurant Technology Network. All of these suppliers really come together and dedicate their time, talent, and resources to sort of diving into the different challenges that restaurants are facing today, and this being key among them, the labor shortage. So I just appreciate all of the support from all of our suppliers who dedicate that time and talent to making stuff like this come to fruition, right? All this work comes to life because of the work of these talented folks here. Before we get started, I just wanted to kind of kick this off with a video that we have from Mertech back in the spring. We were lucky enough to have John Taffer join us for that event to kick off it as our keynote. And this is a very short clip, but I think it's highly relevant to the work we've done here and what we're sharing with you today. So I'm gonna play it really quickly for you.
Airplanes. Our industry is struggling because we can't find people. The solution is technology. Our restaurant is struggling because of the cost of labor. The answer is technology. Our restaurants are struggling in communication sometimes, security issues. The answer is technology. Well,
the answer is technology. That was a really short clip. He goes on and on. Believe me, a good hour of him really beating that drum. But he really found in his restaurant businesses that technology, particularly in the back of house, was the key to fueling the success. And he calls it boomtown right now, right? Because off-prem sales have never been better and stronger in that, since that revenue stream kept us alive during COVID. And now it's not going anywhere. It just is getting stronger with the off-prem incremental increase in revenues. And then we've got the dine-in coming back. Restaurants are really strapped to kind of find the labor to meet the demand that's out there, and the lucky that we are having a boomtown type demand for restaurant services right now. We just need the right folks and the right staffing and labor to get things done. So I want to welcome to the panel my speakers who have been instrumental in getting this work done side by side, shoulder to shoulder. Dr. Cervantes Lee, he's an assistant professor at UNLV Hospitality College. Hello, Cervantes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Really honored to be able to participate in this working group. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Guerrero, who is the Information Security Program Manager for PF Chang's. Hello, Tim.
Hello, Angela. Thank you for introducing me.
Thank you. George Hutto is Senior BI Developer at Mod Superfast Pizza. I think he might be on the call today, but he was unable to speak today. He had a very minor medical procedure that he can't join us today. But he's on the call. So hello, George, if you're out there. Skip Kimball is also with us. Skip, can you hear us and can you chime in? Skip is also on the road today. He's actually at an airport, so I'm not sure he's going to be able to actually speak, but hopefully he can chime in when he can. I know he's trying to get to a quiet place. Eric Solf is the CEO of Soulman Marketing. Hello, Eric.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Nice to see you today. And Tim Tang, unfortunately, is traveling, could not be here, but we have a message from him to kick off the session. He was instrumental in leading this work group. So let me get to that and we will get this party started. Here we go. Let's hear from Tim Tang, who, like I said, guided this work group and was basically the leader in getting us all together and making this work happen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Tang from Hughes. If I were to ask what is the biggest challenge facing the restaurant industry today, I suspect that high on the list would be issues related to labor shortage. It is hard to find people, to manage and to train people. And most of all, it is hard to keep people. Labor has always been one of the restaurant's biggest cost items, yet in today's market of inadequate supply, it has created an enormous burden, not only for restaurants, but for other adjacent forms of retail, like grocery, dollar stores, convenience stores, and even banking. We are all competing for the same limited pool of frontline talent. Now, if I were to ask, what is the most effective way to solve these problems? The experience of many would say technology. Technology is a proven way to magnify the limited resources we have to work with. We need smarter insights and automation to find, to engage, and quickly onboard qualified candidates. We need technology to create an ideal work environment for our employees to focus on serving customers. If the customer experience never exceeds the employee experience, then the critical success factor is, how do you elevate the employee experience? In a market where there's not enough labor to meet the demand, every available human resource must be applied to providing an outstanding customer experience, the brand experience that reflects the culture of the company. Restaurants must leverage the full potential of technology in order to keep up with escalating customer expectations, particularly as they compete with the combination and the convenience of third-party delivery and ghost kitchens. There is no denying that this is a tall order. But the challenge with technology is that there's just too much of it to evaluate. It's too complicated, very difficult to execute at scale, and it keeps changing. Even when you find the right solutions, how do you make it fit with all the other existing solutions that your business already depends on? What restaurants need is a simple but effective strategy to address specific requirements. On behalf of the RTN community, we are pleased to present to you RTN's labor and technology strategies for restaurants. Our team of leading restaurant brands, solution providers, and consultants have collaborated to combine our collective expertise into one resource with the simple goal of making technology easier for restaurants to solve their labor challenges. We do this by providing a structured framework for prioritizing and considering all the available and upcoming solutions. Welcome to our webinar.
We thank Tim for sharing that with us today. As we all know, these statistics don't shock anybody on the call, but the NRA just released this industry study that roughly half of the restaurant operators are expecting recruiting and retaining workers to be their biggest challenge. And the 6-month period between October and March, the unfulfilled job openings exceeded total hires by an average of 500,000 each month. So we're looking at some serious numbers here. And what we've done is we've gotten this team together. We've created a framework of operational categorization is what we did, and mapped out to the priorities of what we thought restaurants would be facing as far as their biggest challenges, what their priorities are, and then we map technologies to those challenges. So with that, I'm going to dive in to the work. When we did a word cloud looking at all of the things we sourced out for this framework, these are the words that came to life: management, customer, employee, training, reduce, automation, delivery, process. I mean, you can see here, these are the buzzwords that I think are fueling some of the challenges and maybe perhaps some of the solutions that we have in this framework. Now, I'm hoping you guys can see this okay, but as I dive in, I'm going to ask our panelists to speak a little bit about this work. So starting with you, Tim, from PF Chang's, I know that you have been a part of a lot of the RTN work groups, and we appreciate and value your contributions. Can you just give us an idea of why you think something like this is helpful for restaurants today, particularly?
Well, I think it's always good. And what comes out of these work groups is just a guide from all the industries that come into it and, who has inputted to it. So restaurants can take away from this what they want, and they can adjust whatever's in the guide. But we are just, from the work group ourselves for, labor and technology, is trying to give ideas to restaurants to help them out battle the problem with labor and technology. So this is what we can do to help, and it's a good start.
Yeah, thank you. And so I'm going to skip over to Eric. Eric, when we're diving into this, so let me just preface this by saying this is going to be available to everybody when we end this call. So screenshot all you want, but this is an open book that we're going to pass along to everyone in the industry, and hopefully it can help. And this is just a preview of the work inside of the book itself. So Eric, when you look at these operational targets and categories and sort of the values we've assigned as far as the priority, what input did you think was most compelling for today's dilemma that we're facing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one is probably employee motivation and benefits and onboarding, because what happens is even if you have a very high starting salary, people might show up for a couple of days and then they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm actually part of a food truck in Massachusetts, and we actually employed people in California. So we paid them to fly out, and we had them. So we couldn't even find people right in our own backyard to work for us. So we had to go across the country to actually do that. So it's being able to understand the benefits and incentives that you can actually bring to your future employees is something that's very good. And also the technologies that we're able to utilize that are going to help propel that as well too.
Yes, yes. And Cervantes, I'd like for you to chime in here as far as, from you're a professor, you travel, you see all these trade shows, you dove in with us with this work. What are the particular insights you'd like to offer?
Sure, thank you, the team, also Angela. So we're talking about the restaurant. A lot of people describe as a people business. So also the big challenge involved is one is sales. During the COVID, we reduce right now, pick it up. The second challenge right now, the biggest is labor. What we talk about is that people in enhanced operations in our restaurant space. So we have a couple of bullet points like employee motivation, onboarding. A lot of people challenge about people, but my biggest challenge for us to see is how do we enable operation entirely in your restaurant space forward. How do you help our employee to operate with the technology system for them for everything, digital order, digital marketing, third-party delivery? How can we as a technology group to provide better solution? You see number 5 here, all the way you have number 1. So different priorities. So that's a good guideline for different restaurant company, different multi-managers, different digital solution director level. How can we help the team on the ground to operate better? So that's, I think we are trying to establish a framework. This is something we can learn and improve. Even we can retain, reward, and even retire employee. So here, this the simple one. Think about the benefit, employee benefit. What do we offer to our frontline workers? We actually did not offer to them. So how can we make a better ecosystem that people feel a restaurant is not just a job, it will be a career. If your spouse asks you, do you have benefit? Most people say, I don't. So they need to work through 2 or 3 jobs. So very, very difficult. So how can we think of our operation? You are the restaurant owner. Even you are a solution provider. How can we help the company to have a retain your employee, make them easier to operate in the store? If you ask the store manager to operate digital marketing, how can he operate? So we need to have better solution for them on the ground. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that's a key too. I'm going to go to the next slide. I mean, we obviously, these are in order for the key restaurants segments from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 here. But each restaurant might find that something that's lower priority from the group that evaluated it could be their number 1 priority. When you look at customer feedback, for example, Eric, I'd like you to speak to that. When we think about customer feedback and how important that is today, we just all saw the news probably yesterday that we have an attack from some bad actors in the space looking to collect blackmail ransom dollars for Google reviews, for fake negative Google reviews from restaurants, which is like, I just don't think it could come at a worse time. Restaurants are already tackling everything and battling everything that they're trying to battle right now in the labor shortage and with the supply chain issues. So that negative Google review scam really came at a bad time. So Eric, why don't you let us know what you think about the customer feedback category? And then Tim, I don't know if you'd like to chime in about, I know that you focus on cybersecurity there at PF Chains. We'd love to hear your commentary on what's going on as far as the news today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, as far as customer feedback, I mean, you have the table touches, but you need to go a little step further than that. Some people may not be as honest as they are on a table touch versus sending out a link after ordering or sending out it or having them scan a QR code to provide feedback. So being able to understand, once you read through this, we have different aspects on here about labor management, talking about employee trainings and whatnot. So if you're getting a certain 1-star, 2, 3-star review on a certain day, now I can go back to understand what is happening on that specific day, who's working on that day, what cook is working on that day, were we busy that day? So now you can really go back and utilize the customer feedback as your technology to help train your staff, help train your cooks, understand why people are getting their food at certain times, why this stuff isn't cooked properly, and being able to really understand that stuff. Because if you're not doing that, you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to understand that. You're not going to be able to see that feedback, because you could be doing table touches. Someone could just be like, yep, food was good, and then they go home and then provide a 1-star review. So what could you have done in the meantime to prevent that 1-star? What can you do to help with those? And as a business owner, you also want to make sure you're replying to positive and negative reviews, because that's what customers are going to be seeing. Is if someone provided a 1-star review and you just left that 1-star review unread because you're really upset about what they said, hey, why don't you just reach out to that person, understand what they were really mad about, respond to it, and then provide an action to actually resolve that issue. And being able to see that, a lot of customers will actually go to your restaurant because you are responding to negative reviews, rather than just say, hey, you're a jerk, why would you say something like that? But being able to really understand what happened and talk with your staff and have collaborations around that is definitely very helpful too.
Yeah, technologies that sort of enable you to do that in real time are so cool. Tim, just speaking about the Google threat and the negative reviews, I know that before the call we had a little chat about that. Is there anything you'd like to share with the folks on the call today as far as best practices?
Yeah, there's a lot of best practices out of there, but it's going back to the bullet point that we see on the slide there is training. I mean, you have to train your users not to click on links and give information. That's their main way of getting into your system. So, if you're a restaurant technology, you want to make sure or you talk to your restaurant technology, say, are we running phishing tests? Are we training our users not to click on links? Things like that. Make sure that you have the right antivirus software or malware protection on your machines. But the main one is to make sure that all your servers are patched with ransomware vulnerability. Make sure that all the vulnerabilities for ransomware are up to date. So that way, if somebody does click on something and they try to get in your servers where all your data is, it's going to be harder for them to get there. But with having the malware protection on there, if somebody gets in and then they're trying to go from a machine to a server that usually doesn't, it will get flagged and picked up. In the chat, I just put it in there. Just you can go to Stay Safe Online. It's just a 101 ransomware, what to do. You can even do it on your machine at home. It's just something, tips to avoid ransomware from a company. So I try to send these out in newsletters to my employees, and I try to educate them as best I can. So, everybody's always on their phone now using email and everything, and they just click, and they don't realize they're clicking on something. So don't mean to take up so much time, but that is what you need to do, is make sure that you're putting all the protections in place, because you know what? Even though we're talking about bringing people in for labor, they are the biggest vulnerability we have, is because people just click away.
Yeah, that's a great point. And speaking to this number 4 at the top here about packaging for channel-based delivery, I know that the food on demand folks are having a packaging conference. It's interesting. It's like, I think the first year that they're doing it, where they're having a conference dedicated to packaging, particularly as it relates to delivery. And would love your thoughts on that. Cervantes, if you want to share, what do you think about the industry's sort of a focus on packaging and how technology may or may not have a play there?
Yeah, regarding the packaging, food packaging, people are talking about your temperatures. Yeah, when the kitchen find out your food before you deliver to the customers, to the third-party delivery, how do you make sure your food package never be touched? Mm-hmm. If anything goes wrong in the package, even the moisture, that's another challenging. And then who touch it? How can you sensorize it? How do you have a better tracking Is that the restaurant's fault, delivery guy's fault, or actually it's just manipulated by your customer? You don't know. So that's a food packaging, the way how do you from customer journey when they order from your kitchen all the way to the customer home. Even when they are thinking about they didn't do anything wrong, but maybe just because they are in the hot air, so something happened. So we need to have create better design package to track. So that's, I think, very fundamental. We can learn from a lot of food manufacturing business. A lot of food restaurants, they don't really care that much about food packaging, but look at the CPG product. They're very good. And then think about grocery, they have a lot ready to go food. And then they are much better than restaurant people about the packaging. So we can learn from the separate related industry overall there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, obviously, we look at things like labeling. Even labeling that's used to identify orders can be used to seal a bag, which I know has been something that has picked up with the advent of third-party delivery. But packaging is so expensive, and it just getting it right is, I think, challenging, no matter how you slice it. I'm going to go back. Let's see here. Hold on. So just to let everyone know on the call, know we have separated all of this by category for the rest of the manual, but I'm just looking at, this is just a sneak peek at like the first couple of pages of how this lays out. So when we look at something like virtual training and food preparation, I would love to know, is Skip on the line yet? I don't know if Skip ever joined us. Probably not. He's in an airport. I know it's tough for him. But going back to Tim, I don't know, Tim, if you have anything to add here when it comes to like, just these automated tasks like food prep. I mean, is there something that you guys are doing? I know that you guys were looking at food lockers at one time. I don't know if you still are, if you have that yet. Some of your locations, I know you have the to-go locations, but anything regarding like food prep, packaging, and getting it ready to go. Like we're starting a takeout tech work group in the coming weeks here. So I'm wondering if there's anything related to that as far as labor and staffing that has been an issue for you.
We had a real, like right after COVID and everything. I mean, they even had like, they offered it up to anybody in the company who wanted to call people and see if they wanted to come in for an interview. So a bunch of us just started cold calling people and asking them if they want to come in for an interview to go that. It's getting a lot better. Our recruiting team, we've ramped up our recruiting teams here, and we're doing a much better job recruiting people and being able to sustain people as they're coming in. That's a good credit to Carrie Bell and the team out there in our space. As far as the technology, we're doing everything that we can to make it easier for our staff to do work. So all the way from inventory all the way up. So from the IT side, we are doing everything that we can to help technology help out our employees do their job better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that, when you think about running the food from the kitchen to a food locker and or to a car, I've heard that, even Chick-fil-A has a new format where it's just a kind of a drive up window kind of situation where everyone's driving through. I've also heard of AI and voice being used for prep. Like if you forget how to prep something or how long something's supposed to be cooked, or if you, instead of looking at anything, it's just you can ask the voice bot and it'll tell you in your ear as far as labor and staffing, how to efficiently and accurately prepare something according to the company's policies. So
we're always evolving. Yeah, we're always evolving our to-goes. I mean, we first started off with just a storefront. You come in, pick up your food and go, and now we're adding tables to our to-go, sort of like a smaller version where people can come in and sit down in the to-goes. So they pick up their food, they can just go to a table and eat right there. So like I said, we're always evolving, trying to make it a better experience for our customer and our employees.
Yeah, and for those to-go sections, Tim, did you allot for space for that when you were designing them? Because I know it was supposed to be a to-go only, right? How did you?
Yeah, well, they are.
Space?
So our new restaurant opening section, and that's what they're doing now. They're allotting the space so we can put more tables in. And like you said, at first, when we first came out, it was just a storefront. Come in, made sure there was enough room for people to come in, order, pick up their food and go. But, we notice that people want to sit down when they pick up their food. They just don't want to get out and leave, especially in areas where there's not a lot of place to sit after that. So again, our new restaurant opening group is just trying to work to make it more efficient for our customers to come and eat.
Yeah. I'd love to open it up for anyone on the call. I know I put it in the chat, but if there's anybody on the call that has a particularly cool way to address the labor shortage, if you've seen any trends, or if you're doing something as an operator or as a supplier to help the industry right now when it comes to labor, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to raise your hand, use the raise hand functionality, or just chime in. We're happy to hear from you. And Cervantes, we'll go back to you talking about all of these things that you contributed to that we see here, or maybe that we see on the other screen. Is there anything else you'd like to address, especially when it comes to like maybe the multi-unit employee sharing? Have you seen anything interesting? I know that you're really close to the folks at Panda. Is there anything that they're doing that's interesting that you've seen?
Yeah, I cannot speak about Panda because I'm just ex-employee, but I think right now they are doing the walk, WOK. Yeah, that's very exciting to me. A change about the people operate Panda kitchen. Also in Panda, you see the frontline, the service, the person who do scooping for you actually can move to the back immediately. So whenever kitchen people are multi-trained. So once you have the walk, you actually change the way you function. So it's a lot of learning for them. And then we are experiencing how Asian food, most of them have wok. That's a very labor intensive, very similar to the flippy, you flip burger, you flip different guacamole. So that's something we see more. And then a lot of my students, I teach multi-restaurant management and UNLV. And then they saw all the similar robotic automation. They told me they want to be, the guy be simulated. For example, they want to be a barista. They say, please model me to do the drink. Please model me to do the walk. And then they also want to learn computer science. They want to learn data analytics and also Python. They want to learn how to be the interface between restaurant and computer science. So when you are doing automation, different vision, they want to see people simulated their work. They want to be simulated. So then that's how we see the education from also see a lot different. Right now, technology very, very well accepted in all the restaurant education because they see that's a need. Like John Hafner, and then talking about the technology in the future, we actually see the needs. So very exciting. We can provide this idea. We can work with the group and labor and technology. How can we help the entire operation in the multi-unit restaurant to move forward?
Yeah, that's great. And I just saw, I think it was today on LinkedIn, or maybe it was yesterday, that Chipotle is, I think it's Chipotle that's taking its like ambassadors, the sort of creating this tribe of folks that are doing things really well and helping them to sort of mirror those efficiencies across stores and the enterprise. As far as that goes, when we think about social and the power of social, when you think about what we said really early on about sort of giving people the recognition in the restaurant industry, I know that there was a sort of a viral TikTok video about the Burger King employee that worked for so many years. I think it was 23, someone correct me if I'm wrong, 23, 25 years. And they gave him like a gift bag. And he was very appreciative of that gift, but it was just blasted out as it should have been so much more, as it should have been so much more of a recognition, both from peers and from the restaurant, of his time. Never had showed up late, never had been sick, every single shift. You think of someone doing that for decades, and a Burger King, it's just so admirable. And he was so humble. So Eric, you probably saw that on top of social. Would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that restaurant needs to kind of focus on as well. It's like you're marketing your restaurant, you're marketing your new specials, but what about marketing the people that actually work for you, telling their stories? Hey, we have Joe who's been working there for 20 years, or here's this person that just started, their background that came from that. Being able to show a true story and have something go viral like that is going to help propel your brand as well. Oh, I want to work there. Like there might have been a lot of people that might want to work at Burger King now because of that video and being able to really show how they care about their employees, or being able to just portray something along the lines of that in your own social media as well. being able to promote, being able to show someone that has been working there a long time or show someone that just started. I've seen a couple of series where restaurants around me, they're doing little videos about the staff that work there, the waiters and waitresses. So when you're going there, you can actually, when you scroll through their social media, you can actually see like a story about your wake staff. So, hey, this is Sarah. She's been working with her for 20 years. She's got 2 kids. She loves traveling. And then now you're kind of personal when you walk in there for the first time. You know who Sarah is and you know who all the staff is because you were able to see those videos and those moments. And that's something that would be good too to also implement here. You can see on line 3 here, employment marketing automation and employment automation, being able to not only market your open positions, but also market the reasons why we're going to work there. Hey, we're giving sign-on bonuses. We have 401k. We have stocks. We do this. We do that. So being able to portray that in the actual social media in a fun way, rather than kind of just a 4-paragraph thing, hey, work for us and this is everything you're going to get. If you can really make a fun interactive video or an image of that and really why people want to work there is something that's going to help, and not only help with your marketing, but also help with your employee retention, because that's something fun that an employee want to be in, something that could potentially be seen by millions of people who wouldn't want their face on that or to be a part of that, to tell their friends and family. So
yeah, that's very cool stuff. I mean, you think about the metaverse and the implications of such a thing, having a little, being able to hover over a person in the metaverse and finding out like the stellar employees, right, for the restaurant, and having that be something that is rewarded, or that you can give them, special tokens, for example, like a crypto token of some sort that unlocks something special in the restaurant if they're your employee. All these kinds of new things I think that restaurants are coming up with they can't be, understated as far as that first category that we assign number 5 to, employee motivation, incentives, and benefits. Across from there, you see gamification of tasks and that kind of thing. And I feel like, we could still do that. But if you think about what's going on in the metaverse and even on social, and the opportunities there to really give credit where credit is due, spotlight those exemplary employees, and or give a little information about who someone is that's serving you. And also we talked about, I think it was at Burtech Summit last year, and one of the things we were trying to do is look at KPIs across the restaurant operation. And I remember, I believe it was Abby, I think you're on the call, it was Abby talking with our friends at El Pollo Loco about culture and just like the drone delivery and how exciting that was for the most loyal fans to get that drone delivery for the first time. But you think about that, and like if we could measure the culture of happiness, or the measure with AI or with computer vision the happiness of employees, like what is the culture like? How can we improve upon the culture? Because that's what's going to ultimately make someone else stay. Obviously, besides the money, what else can we do besides money and bonuses and all of that good stuff? I think that's what that first category is all about. I would love, Cervantes, to hear your thoughts on that. I think you were at that conference.
Yeah, I was with Abby and also John Deere from El Pollo Loco and Andy. Yeah, so think about the employee, because that's a big component for our people operations. So how do you continue engage, retain, and retrain, and retooling? Even sometimes they talk about retiring your staff, like the one you mentioned, Angela, talking about the LX Burger King staff. That's very interesting. I actually saw that social media. So, and then I feel it's a big topic, particularly with our labor shortage. Right now, we automate the recruiting process, but we didn't think about how do we continue to retain them. How can we pay them better, offer them better benefit? I earlier shared in most of our restaurant, store manager level below, most of them do not have coverage for benefits. The restaurant owners say, because we don't have money, we think about the other way. If we have a little money to pay them a little benefit for them, will our employee be even more motivated because they feel this is their career? Mm-hmm. Yeah, having benefit or not is actually a big motivation for restaurant people to think it's a career. Most of career actually they offer full benefits, but right now we kind of discriminate people. Only restaurant store manager above have benefits. and then we don't really taking care of our entry level. And so I feel we as a restaurant educator, even our technology, how can we continue to promote the idea we should taking care of our employee, because they are the front line taking care of our customers. And then a lot of restaurants say they are people business. So we don't take care of our frontline employee. Yeah. And then yesterday I saw the biggest news is Starbucks, the founder, original CEO, talking about they're going to reinvention their business, actually starting from the people. Yeah, so that's why we really enjoy to learn more about that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they come back with, you know, the reinvention of Starbucks and starting with the people. What does that really mean? So it looks like we have someone who raised their hand who would like to add to the conversation. Jeff?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Perfect. Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Toke. I'm with Compaction Technologies. We're a company that provides automation for dining rooms, really targeted at fast food and fast casual. You may have seen our equipment. We're in probably half the Chick-fil-A's around the country. What we provide is automated waste receptacles for the dining room. I know that's maybe not as sexy as payment methods or robotic cooks or that type of thing, but a lot of the things you're talking about here, I think it has a pretty decent application, in terms of making the job easier for the people that are doing the work, for making the job more enjoyable, because nobody seems to like to take out the trash. And also from a consumer standpoint, our equipment provides some contactless waste disposal. They don't have to touch anything. So we see there's quite a consumer thing there. And it's just, I guess my question to the group is, you just don't hear much talked about with the, at least in quick serve and fast casual, about, after the meal. And just wanted to throw that up to the group and see if that's something that you considered in your committee, or something that didn't make the cut for whatever reason.
It probably didn't make the cut because we didn't have someone like you talking about it. We're so happy to hear about it from you. So we have, where we post these things on our website, there's actually an email you can reach out and add things. So know that this is not everything in the industry. Obviously, this is not an exhaustive list of all the ideas. What an awesome thing to bring to the forefront. Like, I particularly love to have the contactless when you're at I always see them in the airports, obviously. The airports have the contactless trash receptacles, which is wonderful. And some QSRs have them as well, I've seen, but not a lot. So it's really a cool thing to bring up, especially in the age of contactless. Yeah.
Well, kind of what we're seeing is a decent uptick in our interest because of the lack of people, and then the contactless. But we've also got a product line that we target at restrooms, and so I guess that would have bearing for sit-down restaurants or full-service restaurants that use paper towels in their restrooms, because I think everybody on the call has probably seen an instance where they've walked into a restroom and the floor's covered in paper towels.
Absolutely.
And we've got an item that will basically contain all those, hold about 20 times more than a conventional trash can in a restroom. And it's all automation. It's all things to make the staff's jobs easier and automate a really kind of a thankless, unwanted task. But again, it doesn't seem to get talked about too much. So anyway, you asked for suggestions, and I guess there's.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just those. I mean, small things can add up to be big things, right? Someone just said that's so cool. I mean, it is cool because no one wants. I think it sort of has a twofold benefit, right? For the employee and for the consumer, right? Because no one wants to touch it. No one wants to go into the bathroom, as you mentioned, and see all the paper towels all over the floor. I mean, it goes to the satisfaction overall of the job, doing the job, I think, and also being, eating at the establishment. So I think it's very relevant to what we're talking about today. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
Certainly. Thanks for asking.
Do we have someone else hand up? Yep. Oh, I can't hear you. You might be on mute. we can't hear you. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Maybe you could put it in the chat because we're not hearing your audio. Abby, are you on the call, and would you like to just, I see you say something here about we should talk about this at MERTEC. Is there something you'd like to spark among the group here?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So every time we start talking about labor and technology, to me, there's a natural potential extension where we can look at how we're telling the story of how labor is making the experience more efficient for employees, right? It was said earlier that like we give the employee the best experience and they can then give the staff member the best experience. But I think that we've started to reach a inflection point with innovative technologies, things like drones and AI and robotics and predictive analytics in restaurants, that restaurants have the potential to talk about technology as a method of recruitment when they are looking to bring new talent into the industry. And I think there's an opportunity for technology and HR and marketing to start to come together as an industry and share this story, and certainly within any individual brand, but bigger picture, and to get that sort of that burgeoning 18 to 24-year-old crowd that we know with respect to turnover may think of restaurants as a stepping stone, but can we get them thinking about restaurants as a place where they can actually get up close and personal with some of the most exciting ways that technology is impacting the guest experience firsthand. And I feel that there's a real opportunity. We'd be happy to think about how we can explore this at MERTEC. If there are others on the call that are passionate about this too and might have some great points to add to a conversation along those lines, I think it's an opportunity to tell that story and have technology step out from it into yet another use case, valuable way that restaurants can use it to help solve the labor challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I see that as we're talking about robotics and like being able to work next to, say a White Castle with Flippy and the fryer station, or even a Chipotle with the Chippy or the Sippy, or whatever the cool robot names are, even Bear Robotics. Look at Chili's, they have the little robot servers and so forth. I think that working alongside robotics is a really cool employee perk that we don't tout enough. Like, how high tech is your environment that you work in, and how are you getting experience with these machines? Or if it's a voice bot, or if it's some kind of artificial intelligence or vision, computer vision going on in the location, how can employees sort of tout that as real world experience when it comes to advancing their careers? And by the way, I forgot to mention, I think that guy at Burger King got a GoFundMe page started and ended up with upwards of $200-something thousand from crowdsourcing. So if you think about it, like, what an opportunity for somebody like a Burger King or anybody to say, we'll match up to $50,000 for every dollar someone contributes to this person, or just spotlight someone for something they did that was great for a customer, for outstanding customer service, or something like that, or anything that they see in the restaurant that's unique that employees are doing. The trend now on TikTok is going through a drive-thru and giving someone $500. Going through a Starbucks drive-thru and saying, "Hey, how was your day?" And if they say, "Oh, it's been okay," but they seem a little down, driving back through and giving them money, and it's just really cool to see that. But it's coming from like a drive for social media and consumer funding, rather than from the restaurants themselves, which I know it's difficult, right, to shell out money, but maybe there are other types of recognition. Cervantes, it looks like you had a good comment in here. Would you like to share that with the group?
Yeah, I actually want to echo Abby about the technology. And then I was looking about the restaurant hiring, look at the job description for McDonald's, for even for Chipotle. The technology people are actually very well paid. They are competing with Amazon, with Walmart, to hire people with full service CPG experience, direct working in the restaurant space. So if you look at we call support center, which are the headquarters for most restaurant bigger chain, they are actually hiring a lot of area with the data science. Even think about supply chain, even look at the marketing, it's literally 100% consumer insight, 100% technology and data. So that's why we see more people willing to come in from technology. They don't feel shame anymore to work in the restaurant space. 15 years ago, or 10 years ago, ask people from Facebook or Amazon, do you want to work in the food company? Are you kidding me? So right now, a lot of people willing to work at McDonald's. Yeah, they are really like technology company in their support center. Even supply chain is all technology. How do you predict your demand supply? How do you forecast your item where to go at different location? That's all data. So right now we feel more courage. We are late behind technology in restaurant space. Right now we're picking up the like similar to hotel. Hotel the revenue management already literally 100% dataized. Right now, restaurant, we have so many data, transaction, menu items. So we need more people to come in here to feel it's a big career. It's 10% of labor force in America. But our pay is probably the bottom of the bottom, 30% below poverty line. Something we as a technology group, we can encourage, and we are serving the entire restaurant space. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's well noted. And, when you think about, the people who are coming into the restaurant space, why they are, I mean, it'd be interesting to do some kind of consumer research on why Gen Zennials or, whatever age group demographic you wanted to grab there, and see why they were incentivized to work at restaurants, and maybe segment that out by category of restaurant. Because obviously someone who's working at a fine dining establishment as a waiter, that could be their career. That's usually their career. Or someone who's working just to make ends meet before their first semester of college. There might be different incentives based on the demographic and based on the business model of the restaurant. So it might be interesting to sort of map those out as well. I'm going to go to, it looks like Karina put something in the chat. In college, it was a huge benefit to work in restaurants for food discounts. Yeah, I hear you. I second that. I can tell you how many Mexican platters I could put on my arm. I worked in a Mexican restaurant and I was able to carry a lot of platters on my arm. And yeah, definitely huge benefit. And it teaches you so much, I think, working with people in the restaurant space. I'm going to go through and see if we had a QR code in here, right here. I just want to let everybody know that technical documentation that's released from the RTN work groups is generally made available if it's standards and or this labor document, or for example, our off-prem playbook, things that are going to help jumpstart the industry and help move the industry forward, innovate faster, make things connect better. So you can grab all of these documents there. We also have some documents that are members only that are a little bit more specific. We encourage everybody on the call to become a member of RTN and join us in these conversations and these work groups. We have so many great work groups spinning up on takeout tech and winning back the customer, and would love to have your participation and the entire industry's participation. So I'll leave this QR code up as we ask for any more final Q&As and any more last minute words from our panelists. Eric, have any last minute words to share with our group before we break?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch upon the other stuff that you can find in the work group as well, talking about table ordering, customer journey, waitlist management. So there's stuff other than just labor management and employee onboarding. So there's a lot of great information packed in here that you can kind of dive in at your leisure. And as Angela said, it is broken down into that fast casual, fine dining. So you can pick where your restaurant is, pick the certain topic or category you're looking for, and then just take through the notes and go at your leisure. So yeah, there's a.
Yeah. That's great. And thank you, Eric, for all of your insights. Tim, do you have any final words for the group here?
Yeah, join the work group, put your input in. Don't wait for these calls to learn what you need to do. If you have insight in it, whether it's automated trash cans or anything else, just if you have anything to input, join the work groups. The more collaboration that we have and the more ideas we have, the better restaurants benefit from it.
Absolutely. Yes. And we have lots of work groups going on now. And like I said, new ones starting. And Cervantes, any last minute words from you before we break?
No, I really appreciate everybody willing to join and learn a lot on the process. Thank you, Angela and AB, put me on the committee working with Tim, with Eric on this panel, and also Team 10 too. So really enjoy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you, Cervantes, and thank you to Skip and Tim and George, our friends who couldn't be here. Looks like we have one person who raised their hand, and I'm not even going to, is it Lassie?
It's Lassa. Hey, Angela, thanks for letting us join here. I work for a company called Blue IP. relatively new to RTN, have been working very heavily in the hospitality space. So typically on the hotel front. I come from Marriott after 17 years, but currently with Blue IP. And it's very interesting to listen to the panel discussion today about the labor shortage. We're obviously seeing this massively in the hotel space. Obviously, we have a couple of customers in the restaurant space too, so we see a lot of parallels. I'm very active in HTNG, which you may have heard a little bit about,
Yes.
and I actually lead a work group on the HTNG front. So very excited to join this team here as well.
That's amazing. We're happy to have you. So HTNG is the Hospitality Technology Next Generation, which has been acquired by the AHLA, American Hotels and Lodging Association. Hopefully I'm getting it right.
Yes.
So they actually have been kind of churning along longer than RTN has. And I believe they've created about 150 standards, like specification and standards for the hotel space over the past few decades. And we are in our infancy, RTN as compared to the hotel space, and how far along they have been with their working groups and standards, best practices, technology guidance that they've kind of fueled into the hotel space. So we can only hope that in 3 decades, we are as far along or farther, hopefully, with our work here, with the participation of the folks like you on the call that are interested in these topics and want to help contribute to the conversation. And we encourage you to join us. If you follow that QR code some way or another, you can get back to, just click on the RTN logo, you can get back to the homepage. There's join now, ways to join all over the website. You can also look at the work groups that are forming now and see what they are and see if you might have an interest in one of those. Looks like we have another comment from Robin. An AI solution to assist with labor and training. That's awesome. We had an artificial intelligence panel in one of our town halls recently, and we have a lot of folks that are doing stuff from labor and staffing with AI and voice bots to kitchen prep and KDS to curbside, and takeout and everything in between that people are doing, and drive-through, obviously, with voice bots and AI. So we do have an AI share group that's forming right now. So Robin, we'd love to have you and anybody else on the call who's interested in the topic of artificial intelligence and machine learning. That's going to be more like a sharing group, kind of like what we've done at the last part of this call, just sharing ideas, right? Restaurants, suppliers, consultants, anyone in the industry who wants to come join us and have thought-provoking discussions about hot new tech that's happening right now, like AI. There's so much to unpack there as far as emerging use cases and even edge cases that are interesting when it comes to AI. So actually, I absolutely encourage you all to check out RTN, check out our work groups, our share groups, grab the content from this site where you can see all of our technical documentation. And thank you all for an enlightening discussion. And thank you all for joining us today. We hope to see you on a future RTN work group or on another webinar like this where we share findings with the industry. Thanks, everyone. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks for joining us.